Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Glee Season 5, Episode 17, Opening Night. And, oh my god, you guys have no idea how much I was looking forward to this episode. Because, one, you guys know Rachel's my favorite character on this show. You know, even though she has bad moments on this show, she still is my favorite character. And this episode, clearly shows why. But I was also really looking forward to it because, Funny Girl, I was really looking forward to seeing how Rachel would do in the show and everything. And this episode was perfect. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. And it's probably my second favorite of the New York episodes, right next to the first New York episode. It was just really, really good. It's by far the best episode of the season. I mean, it really was just a perfect episode. And I loved everything about it. It really was great. So let's just get to our main plot. Obviously, Rachel was the main plot. Rachel has this really weird, really funny nightmare, actually. Basically, she's preparing to be in Funny Girl, and Kurt wakes her up. It's all a nightmare, really. She ends up naked because she doesn't have a costume, so all the worst things are happening to her. Then she, somehow everyone, looks like how they did in Season 1. Santana's back in her Cheerios uniform. Blaine is in his Warblers uniform. Tina's, looks goth again. Just really, really funny. That whole scene was hilarious when they did Loveful. And especially the scene where, Sue was talking slow motion. And then the scene, the part where, the song was sped up and things like that. Definitely, probably one of Glee's funniest performances. Definitely, that was so funny. I love that. But Rachel gets terrified from this dream because she is reading all these reviews, which is not something you're supposed to do. And, I personally, I can't relate to her situation because I haven't had an opening night like this. I've been in musicals before, but I haven't been in anything big. I've been in, school productions, nothing that big, but you're not supposed to read your reviews the day before opening night, and Kurt tells her this. All it does is give her stress, so she basically thinks that, she's awful and everybody hates her and that she's going to be terrible in this production. She's pretty terrified of how bad she's gonna be in this. She's pretty sure she's gonna be awful. So, she just starts, basically, a lot of people are back. Also, we find out that Artie's out of town, so he can't see the show. Tina comes back, and, what happens is, you can see that Rachel's just in this really bad, state, and, when Tina's back, she says all the wrong things. She's saying, because she sees Rachel and says, "Oh, do you have laryngitis?" And she says, "Oh, remember that time you had laryngitis?" And I'm just thinking, Tina, you're saying all the wrong things, sir. She's about to go on, and you're just ruining it. Because she starts talking about how Puck and Quinn aren't there to see it. How they're not there to see it. Mike's not there to see it. And we also found out that Tina, it was great to see Tina again, by the way, in this episode. Definitely, for episodes with Tina, this is probably one of her funniest ones. She had some really funny lines. Even though I hated what she was doing to Rachel, she was basically, basically saying all the wrong shit to Rachel. I did not like that very much. As much as I did not like that, I thought Jenna Uskowitz was hilarious in this episode, and this was probably one of Tina's funniest episodes of the season. I really hope that Tina sticks around, at least for the rest of the season. She doesn't have to be a regular next season, but I really love her on the show, and I hope she sticks around on the show for the next few episodes, because I really enjoyed her on this episode. But then what happens is, Rachel gets really worried when Tina's saying this to her. She's basically, Rachel's really creepy at this point. She's like, and honestly, this was creeping me out. She's like, yes, say that, because I love my friend's advice. That's literally how she said. She said, in the most creepiest way she could have said. She said, all that matters to me is my friend's advice, and then she just leaves. She's in a really bad state. So, Sam, Blaine, and Kurt all try to comfort her in different ways. Sam's trying to play guitar for her. Blaine's trying to, relax her with, massaging techniques and things like that. And Kurt gives her this letter, and it really goes bad when that happens because he pretends that Barbara Streisand wrote it when she, was in Funny Girl, and she says this is wrong because Barbara Streisand's not written fans to anyone, has not written letters to anyone for years. So she yells at him with that, and she says, "Who wrote this?" And she's like, "Who wrote this? Tina?" And I thought that was pretty funny because Tina is the one that wrote it. She cuts the guitar strings off of Sam's guitar, and she throws the stuff that Blaine was trying to help her with. So obviously that did not work. So unfortunately that did not work. I didn't think that was going to work, but it didn't work. So then what happens is the one person who comes to save Rachel, believe it or not, is Santana. Santana's there to save Rachel, basically. Santana saves the day. She tells Rachel that, "I'm not going to give you advice because I'm not the one to do that." But she shows her this thing where it says reviews, and she says, these are reviews that Barbara Streisand got when she first performed. So what she's trying to show Rachel is that we all go through this. We all get bad reviews. What we have to do is we can't let it get to us. And I love that theme in this episode. The whole theme of this episode is we always get shit on in our lives. Like, everyone. There are people that everybody, even if you don't think it, there are people that hate you. No one loves everybody, and basically the message is you can't let it get to you, and I love that message in this episode, that you can't let bad reviews get to you, because definitely it was a great message for Broadway performers, and I love that scene. And Santana and Rachel, Santana really is a great friend to Rachel, and I sincerely hope, seriously, Santana better stick around for the rest of the season, because I miss Santana for these past 3 episodes, and it was great to see her again. It was great. It was great to see Santana again. I love seeing Santana. Santana is probably my second favorite character right next to Rachel, so definitely was great to see her again. Because my 4 favorite characters are Rachel, Santana, Kurt, and Blaine. Those are my 4 favorite characters on the show. But now the only other thing, the next thing that happens, though, is now it's Rachel's opening night, and she's really happy with it. She's like, guess what? It's my opening night, and everyone's happy about it, and she's about to go on, and who's there but Will? Will is there to give her some advice, because he and Sue went there. That was kind of the subplot, which I'll get to, but he and Sue are there, they're there for Rachel, and he's telling her that, you're great at this, you're gonna do great. But then it turns out that Emma's actually going into labor, so he's not able to see the show. But I thought that was surprising that we actually get to, we got to hear some updates about Emma's pregnancy. I thought that was interesting to see, definitely. I kind of like that they did that. But then after that happened, we see that, she goes on, she's very worried, because the one song, Who Are You Now, that she's gonna sing, she's worried because she always cries about Finn during that scene, and Will tells her she's gonna do great and that he loves her, and I just thought that was a great scene. And then she goes on, she says, I'm the greatest star, and she is perfect. I mean, I've never seen Rachel so perfect. Literally, that whole scene was perfect. I loved everything about that. And then, Act 1 ends up going really well, and it goes pretty well for her, until she, definitely, that goes pretty well for her, and what ends up happening is that, what's his name? Oh my god, Sydney comes in, thank you. Sydney comes in to talk to Rachel, and Sydney tells her you did a great job, but he gives her really good advice. He tells her, you have to make Act 2 as good as Act 1, and opening night can be your closing night. That's true. Opening night basically sets the tone for your career. The first opening night of your show, when you're starring on Broadway, that sets the tone for your career, and I thought that was also a great scene, because it really shows that that is true, that opening night, as I said, sets the tone for your career, so I thought that was a really great scene when he said that, and I thought that was really great advice he gave Rachel. She's kind of worried, and he tells her, that she has to do really well, and she does Who Are You Now, and she does really, really well, and she ends up doing great with the show. Everyone comes in to celebrate with her, and she's a little bit worried because, Sydney tells her, as good as she was, the one thing that matters the most is New York Times. He tells her that. What matters now is New York Times, and that's what matters, is that New York Times, and what matters the most is that. So that was definitely really, really interesting, when he said that to her, and she's all excited and everything. Everyone's really happy. And he tells her they're throwing this huge party for her. She decides to not attend the party because she figures they're just going to be talking about the show and mixed reviews and things like that. She really doesn't want to be involved in that. So Blaine and Kurt decide to take her. And she invites everyone, you know, Santana, Tina, and Sam and Mercedes go as well. They all go to a gay bar, which I thought was kind of funny. But everyone in that gay bar knows Rachel. She's like, basically, she's like a celebrity to them. She's already kind of a celebrity. I like that we're seeing that Rachel slowly is turning to a celebrity, because it was great to see her in this episode. It didn't go to her head or anything. This is the type of Rachel we need to see. Like, if they continue the Rachel we saw in this episode, Rachel is going to be perfect throughout in the next season, definitely, and the rest of the show. But basically, you know, she performs the song Pumping Blood for them, which was fantastic. I loved when they did that song. It was a lot of fun, you know. That's probably my favorite. I don't know why, but I don't know. That was definitely one of my favorite songs of the episode, because every song in this episode was fantastic, and I'll get to that. But I love that scene. And then it's time for New York Times. Again, Rachel's very worried. She doesn't know what to think about New York Times. But they all head over there, and she says, I want all my friends to come with me. And there's a great scene as well, but I will get to that when we get to the subplot. There's a great scene that I definitely want to talk about. That was probably my favorite scene in the episode. But it turns out that everyone loves Rachel in the New York Times, and she did a great job, and everything's great with that. So Rachel has now been in Funny Girl, and she's now a star. So that's fantastic for her. And I love the main plot. It was fantastic. Now let's get to the subplot, which had to do with Sue and Will. So Will's going, we saw the school again, and I freaked out when we saw the school again. I never thought we'd see the school again until, like, season 6, but I freaked out when we saw the school again. You know, we see Will and Sue, and Will's telling Sue he has a ticket, and I was thinking we'd see, like, Marley or Jake or Kitty or Ryder or Unique in the hallway, just, like, for a cameo or something, but we didn't see that, unfortunately, and I wish we would have, because that would have been cool. But he tells Sue that, you know, he has this ticket to go to Rachel's show, and he has one extra ticket and that she can come with him, and she decides to go, and I love the way they did NYC. Definitely, that was probably, I don't know why, but I think that was probably, definitely one of my favorite songs of the episode. As I said, every song in this episode was fantastic, and I'll talk about the songs in a little bit, but they go to New York, and Sue decides to crash into, she literally crashes into Rachel and Kurt's apartment. You know, she just crashes there. She's like, I'm gonna stay here. And Rachel's in a bad mood at this point, so so she decides to stay in Kurt's room. And I thought that was definitely pretty funny when that happened. But Sue was very mean in this episode, very rude, probably the rudest we've ever seen Sue. And she meets this guy during the show. She's about to leave because she's about to leave, and the whole big thing here is that Sue said something on Sue's corner that she hates New York, she hates everything about New York, and everything about New York is awful. So everyone holds this against her, and she's really thinking that she's gonna hate New York. But she meets this guy there, and this guy actually I like this guy. This guy's name is shit. What's this guy's name? I can't remember what this guy's name is. Let me just look it up for a second, because I can't remember what his name is. Sorry, guys, I can't remember what his name is. Oh, Mario. And Mario is this guy who is living in New York. You know, she sees him there, and he's going to see, Rachel's show, and, you know, she really, it's like love at first sight with him, definitely. So, it's great to see them. And basically, she ends up leaving Rachel's performance, which I thought Rachel was going to choke in that scene, but she didn't. And this guy also leaves, very, very rude of him. But Sue does this to talk to the guy, and they end up going to this bar and everything, and they're talking. And I actually really like this scene because I thought it was really well done. You know, they're talking and everything, and he's telling her how he thinks that she could be a star in New York. You know, he says, you should be on that stage. And Sue kind of while Rachel is singing Who Are You Now, Sue pictures herself on the stage singing Who Are You Now? So I thought that was really well done, the way they did that scene. I love that scene. Just probably one of my favorite scenes. That's probably one of my favorite scenes of the episode. I just thought that was really well done. And I actually really like this guy. Until we find out that him and Sue actually slept together in Rachel and Kurt's apartment. Rachel freaks out at Sue. And I love this next scene. Because you know how she basically tells Sue, and I loved what she did. She basically said, Sue, you have been mean to me since high school year. You made my high school year a living hell, but now that you're not my teacher, I can finally say what I want to say to you. And basically what she says is that you are a horrible person, and you love making other people upset, and she basically says, I want you, she kicks Sue out of her apartment. She's like, I want you out of my apartment because I had a great moment tonight. I want to spend this night with my friends, not someone who is just here, and I don't want someone who's not my friend in here. Get out of my apartment. And I was so happy for Rachel. I was so happy that Rachel did that in that scene. That is probably my favorite scene in the episode because holy shit, Rachel finally told Sue off. And the thing is, Sue does not know what to say about this. She's just like, alright, whatever, I guess I don't like the city. And I just thought that was hilarious. I mean, I was like, yes, Rachel, finally, because after all this time of Sue constantly bullying the Glee Club, Rachel finally told her, you know what, we're better than you. It shows that everything you told us was wrong, and she basically said, you said this to motivate us, but you know what, it didn't do anything for us, and she said that everything you ever thought about us is wrong, and we're better than you, so just go take a hike. And then the very last scene is actually Sue and Mario, and she tells Mario, she says, look, I love the city and everything, but I definitely am more of an Ohio person. It's not that I don't want to be in the city, it's just I'm more of an Ohio person, and I want to stay there. So she ends up leaving New York, you know, she makes out with Mario, which was interesting, and I kind of like the chemistry between Sue and Mario. I hope we see Mario again, because I actually think that he might be the one to fix Sue, but now I'm not sure about that. But then she goes back on Sue's corner and says that she actually loves everything about New York, and it's great, and everybody should stay in New York, and I just thought that was just really, really great. She said it's a place to find love, and even if it's not love, it's a place to find yourself. And I'm thinking that next season, Sue is going to start to find herself. You know what I kind of think? I don't know why, but I was kind of thinking this episode that Sue might end up pursuing Broadway, because why would she have thought of herself in that scene with Rachel in her head? You know, she was thinking of herself performing with, you know, Who Are You Now in that one song, and she was picturing herself doing that, so why would she picture herself doing that if she doesn't want to, you know, be part of it, if she doesn't want to be on Broadway? I'm thinking Sue is going to start pursuing the arts and start to be in Broadway, and this might lead to the Glee Club coming back. I mean, this is all connected. Sue and Will, everything's connected to the Glee Club. By the way, forgot to say, Rachel does get a call from Will at the end of the episode. Turns out that Emma had a boy, and everything's okay. So I'm guessing they're gonna have a Will Jr. sort of thing. I don't know. But definitely that whole plot was fantastic. I actually really liked it. I like seeing Sue kind of, you know, nice to this guy. The one thing that I did not like about Sue, though, was that she was extra mean to everyone this episode, and I could not stand that, you know. The second she gets there, she's like, I'm here to see Rachel Berry choke on her opening night. And I personally did not like that. But this episode was amazing. Everything about it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. I loved everything about it. Best episode of the season, hands down. You know, just, it was so, so good. Everything was perfect, and there was nothing wrong with it at all. I loved everything with Rachel. By the way, this is by far Lea Michele's best performance. Everything she had to do. She went from hilariousness to sadness to anger to just everything she went. She went through every emotion in this episode, and it was perfect. I thought she portrayed everything really great, and Lea Michele definitely, as I said, this was her best performance on the show so far. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, next week, episode looks interesting too. It looks like Rachel is going to be approached to possibly do like a TV show of some sort. I don't know what's going to happen there, but that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys thought. This episode, again, was perfect. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Awkward. So, see you then. Bye.